Hi guys, it's April and we're back. um my brain is still trying to find its on position. I've had so much caffeine, but still not here. I'll be honest with you. We had a storm come through this morning and it's kind of thrown off everything. Half the town, it feels like, is out of power. So we're lucky we have power right now, and I don't think we should lose it at any point. But just put that out there, that if suddenly we go dark, that is what happened. But we are back in the little match girl, and I'm gonna start with something relatively simple that my brain can understand, and that's gonna be the Christmas tree over here. And then after we get that done, we'll kind of play it by ear. What I might do next on this page. By the way, hello everybody who's already said hi. Um, I did pick out some colors. I may have to pause the stream in about an hour because one of my favorite potters is doing a sale, and I may have to quickly check to see what kind of mugs she has listed and maybe get some of those. But we'll see where we're at that point. But we're just gonna kind of just slide right into this one. I'm gonna zoom in for us and hope focus, my brain focus jumps in at any point. Okay, I'm going to move the colored pencils. For the marker base, I have the Tombow 158. And do I remember what the name is for this one? Dark olive. So I'm kind of going with like those vintage Christmas color tones is kind of where I started out in my mind of where I wanted this to go. Whether or not it actually stays there, I don't know. This is just kind of where we're going to start. One of the interesting things about this, though, is deciding where the tree starts and stops. Kind of going to have to feel this one out as we go. I'll have to show you these mugs because they are just, they're my Halloween vibey mugs, at least her style is. That's why I'm kind of excited about them. But I'm also really into handcrafted mugs. It's true. We're kind of going for the Nightmare Before Christmas kind of vibes with this one. It all works. What? This is where things are going to get interesting. Do I want that smoke coming in or kind of like the tree fading into smoke kind of vibes? Kind of playing with the ephemeral nature of her memories. Yeah, some of this I can leave off the decision making until I'm on that colored pencil layer. Because it's just how far I want to take this base Tombow layer. And I think what I am going to do is I'm going to kind of have that smoke fade out from the green of the tree into however I decide to handle that dreamy smoke quality of the image. Maybe I should find a lighter green that I can fade some of that out to, because when I was choosing colors for this, I chose mostly the darker. But I'm wondering if I should find a green that kind of leans into like a smoky green for some of those areas. And I'll be honest, this probably won't be the cleanest base layer. But at least it'll give me an idea of where this shape of this tree actually sits as a whole. Purple glitter smoke. that that kind of gives off like that witchy Halloweeny vibe. So I get it. I think I'm gonna find smoky green that it can fade off into. Because I want it to feel like it's losing its color as it slowly starts to hit the other side of the page. Because as that match goes out and she's losing the hook on that memory, which is kind of depressing. Yeah, the smoke kind of does come from the tree. And I can kind of try and fade things together, kind of like what I did with some of this brickwork. I can start taking it there, but I don't have to take it all the way yet. And I'm going to have to decide what color I want some of these baubles to be. I'm kind of playing around with the idea of making them look like they're lights, and so that they've got a little bit of a glow to them. But nothing is set in stone in my head yet. Yeah, so like the greens and the burgundies and the golds, and that's kind of what I'm thinking this side of the page should look like. So when grandma, her outfits will lean a little more towards those burgundies, and we can add those pops of bright, shining yellows and golds and lights and things like that. I want to add a warmth to this side of the page. Hopefully the tree doesn't take me 2 hours to do, but there is a small likelihood that it might because this guy is intricate. Yeah, because see, you have some of this, like, it's the candlelight fading into the tree. Like, how do we want to morph all of that together? So I don't want to get too crazy with the base layer, but at least hit everything for sure that I know I want the Christmas tree green. And we'll kind of figure it out from there. wondering if then I can fade the rest of that. Okay, so I originally, for the, oh, so I'm just doing one layer of the Tombow because I know we got this question right here about Tombows bleeding through the paper. I'm just doing one layer, so I'm not doing anything deeper in that so that we don't get any bleed through. I find, at least on Kerby's books, that if you go with just at least a layer, let that dry, and then layer on top of that, let that dry, you may be able to get away with a couple layers of markers. But since I'm only using this as a base, I just do one light layer of marker, and then I'll do the color pencil on top to start getting that depth. Ooh, you're planning on doing this page. I would love to see it. If you do end up doing it, I would love to see how it turns out. 'Cause, double page spreads, let me tell you, they can be terrifying. Okay, let's see. So I need to find, okay, what was I saying? I pulled out before the stream, I pulled out a Holbein 262, a Polychromos 167, Polychromos 267, and the Polychromos 199. But I think I need to do a smoky green here, which I could. I want to do a dark smoky or a lighter smoky. Maybe I want to do the lighter because I kind of like this Holbein right down here. So that is the Holbein 272. If you want to layer, I would say be very careful with layering a wet medium. If it depends on if you want a blend or if you want to layer. If you want to blend, I would work in small areas and very quickly and try to use the least amount of ink that you can. But if you want to like layer the colors on top of each other, I would say let a layer dry and then go back with another layer of the marker. You won't get a blend like you would, say, an alcohol, but you also wouldn't necessarily saturate the paper and then end up bleeding through. On these pages, sometimes I can get away with 2 or 3, depending on what medium I'm using. I'm wondering if I still have some of my old Kerby pages that I did do some marker layering on. So let me find this 272 first. Because I know I've done some of that kind of layering in the past. There we go. Question is, do I remember which one of Kerby's it is? Okay, I have not thought about this coloring page in an age and a half. I did this one, ooh, maybe 7 years ago. And this one is completely in marker. So these are all water-based markers of various different kinds. And as you can see, I got a couple of different layers in there. And minimal bleed through. You see a little bit of ghosting here and there. That's why I'm saying be a little careful on how you do it. But you can, if you're really careful about it and you go more for that like graphic style, you can definitely get away with layering markers in the Kerby book. But this is one of my favorite that I've done. I haven't thought about this one in forever. And yeah, you got this. This is the same case. I was testing out some new markers I had. If I remember right, these are all Pitt pens. If I remember correctly. There, I think, are some other water-based instead of India ink in here as well. But see, that's you have to be careful on how many layers you end up putting in there because if you start to get too aggressive with them, it will get a little bleed throughy. But if you're careful about it, you can do some fun stuff. Yeah. Been forever since I've looked at this book. Got that one too. Can you see how my style has evolved since then? This was what? Ooh, I don't remember when this one was published. 2016. 9 years ago. Oh, that was painful. Okay. I think I could do some fun things with these colors. Oh, I'm gonna make sure you can actually see the colors. Oh, I have to pull out the 272. It's true. I do have his 10th anniversary one pre-ordered. 272. Where are you? Ah, well, this is appropriate. 272 is called Misty Green. gonna sharpen it real quick. And then 262 is sap green. 167 is the permanent green olive. 267 is pine green, and then of course 199 is the black. I'm going to hit a couple spots with the black first and work from dark to light. I'm gonna start getting that shading together. There was the longest time where all I used was markers because I didn't feel confident in colored pencils. And I am a graphic designer by trade, and mostly in the digital media space. So markers just felt more comfortable to me. So a lot of my very first pages are in water-based or India ink. And then I moved on to alcohol markers. And eventually I felt confident enough to start playing around with colored pencils. What it means to use them all together. Funnily enough, it was some of those Thomas Kincaid pages that really started pushing me into figuring out colored pencils. I'm still kind of keeping it messy and loose. One nice thing about Kerby's designs is he kind of gives you some clues onto how he was thinking about the piece by doing some of that hash shading as part of his line style. See if I can not hit the camera with my head. It's an okay first pass. I'm going to switch over to the 267. And did I start in the middle of the Christmas tree? Of course I did. Why? Because I like to make my life overly complicated. That's why. Where have I colored? I don't know. Let's just continue to color. Eventually I'll get it all right. It's like every single time. It's like my default is just like smack dab in the middle and then work in this like weird spiral pattern outward. don't want to add too much of this pine green because it does have a more of a bluish nature to it. I just thought it would be good for some of the darker parts of the tree. Okay. Now I'm going to go with the 167, which is the permanent green olive. Okay, dog. I need to move this chair a little bit closer. I'm sorry. I know. I'm jostling you so much. Interrupting his nap. Okay. And then I'm going to hit everything with the 262. Start filling in those white spots. And I will come back and hit some areas that I feel like got missed or need fuller coverage. I'm gonna have to get the eraser out and clean up some of these edges. think I'm going to pull out the eraser real quick before I move to the smokier green. There's a few spots I want to clean up a little bit. Okay. Pause real quick. Woo. Okay, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break, get some caffeine into me. I've got some Dr. Pepper. And then Antler Fluff, which is the name of the mug lady. Let me see if I can. Yeah, this is her Instagram. She's just cute littlest ghost kitty cat mug that, like I said, she's now gonna be on sale. Let's see. Mugs. Oh. Now I have to decide which shape I want. Like, how cute is that? I need that in my life. Oh no, it's sold. Oh golly geez. I'm horrible at these things because you have to move so stinking fast. Oh no, did all of the kitty ones? Okay, we're going for this one. Give me the add to cart. Proceed to checkout. Pay with PayPal. Continue. Ah! Why do I like these kind of things? I don't know. No! Okay, I think I got that one. Oh my gosh. It's 12:01. And how many of the mugs just sold out? Like half of them I think are gone at this point. Most of the kitty ghost ones are. There's this one still left. Let me double check to make sure I actually got that. Sorry guys. I know isn't necessarily what this live stream is supposed to be about. Okay. So yes, I did get the kitty mug. It's an 18-ounce spooky kitty handmade pottery mug. I managed to grab it. We're good. Okay, that's all I wanted. We're back. Thank you guys for putting up with me. Golly. Me and Jeff have been through this before, and he did not enjoy that experience whatsoever. But I did get the cutest mug off of it, and since we're calling this mug hour, let me show you this mug that caused Jeff so much stress. This is from Adastra. She has since moved to Germany and hasn't done any mugs since. But how gorgeous is that mug? This is one of my favorite mugs. I absolutely adore it. Jeff did not like the buying experience. she, I think she sold out within like 5 minutes of everything she put up. And I'm guessing that Antler Fluff is about to do the same. And then this one I did on my own. Managed to get this cute little mug. How precious is that? This is another one of my really favorite mugs. But yeah, this one is from Sea Goat Ceramics. Absolutely love it. But now I'll have that kitty mug to add to my handmade collection. So thank you once again. We're coming back now. Okay. Yeah, like I said, it was like 1 or 2 minutes and then she just sold completely out. Okay, so this is the Misty Green. And so this is what I'm going to use mostly on the edges to kind of fade some of this in. And then we'll go back in and actually do some fine tooth cleaning. So I hope that was at least a little bit entertaining of a sidebar for you guys. I think I'll attempt to blend some of this in together a little better along here. At some point, I would love to get one of her last unicorn mugs. The last unicorn is one of my all-time favorites. But this was her Halloween drop. So like I said, I very much appreciate with you guys being patient with me. And this will most likely be a nice 2-hour stream. I have a feeling this Christmas tree is going to take me quite a lot longer than I originally anticipated. Because I'm like, oh, it's just a simple Christmas tree. I'll probably just start doing it and then move on to something else. But I mean, I'm an hour in already and I do not feel anywhere near complete with this. think that's a start for how this tree could fade in and fade out. Let's go. First of all, I'm going to have to sharpen a few of these, especially that sap green that I really used. And then we're going to start back at the beginning and start with the blacks. Now I can start to be a little more aggressive, especially now that we know where everything is going to sit. Once again, my brain decided to start in the middle of the tree. Oh, goodness. My family is texting each other, comparing notes on storm damage. So my phone just keeps going off. We don't have very many big trees on our property. So thankfully, we did not have much damage. Like I said, a good chunk of the city is without power because of fallen trees. I think there was reports of like 84 miles per hour wind. Starting to have issues seeing where I need to lay down colors because the wax is reflecting. Okay. Going to switch over to the 267, which is the pine green. see you sneak in. Oh, I know, Albus. Life is so rough. I'm gonna switch over to the 167. I'm going to come back in with the sap green. Get those ends. And this is the point where if I'm seeing any kind of weird textures still, I really start blending those out. This is why I really like using the Holbeins for the overtones, because there's such a creaminess to them. You can really burnish things in nicely. The only downside to that, because they are so creamy, you are applying a decent amount of pressure at this point. You lose that tip so stinking fast. Am I gonna spend 2 hours on a Christmas tree? Yeah, sure, you betcha. Did I anticipate that? Nope. Put the colored pencils down for a second. Sharpen this pencil real quick. Or I might just go over some of these bigger areas while it's kind of flattened. Okay, I'm going to sharpen this real quick. And take a little bit of a caffeine break. Okay. Into some of these finer edges. Hey, Bubba. I know. If you're gonna sit on my lap, you can't do that. I know. Give my hand a quick rest. Sorry, guys. Da, da, da. Da, da. Da, da, da. Da, da. Not sure where that came from. You're welcome. definitely come back and clean up around some of those ornaments. So that'll probably be the last thing I do. Holler out if you see any spot I've missed. I'm getting to the point where I've been staring at this too long. Apparently staying in the lines is too hard now too. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna switch over to the 272, which is the misty green. clean up some of this. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'll be going back over with their true color. But might as well get a little bit of it off. Some of that is the marker base. I wasn't very careful with it when I applied it. Okay. Like I said, I didn't initially think that was going to take me 2 hours to do just the Christmas tree. Zoom out so you can kind of see where we're at as a whole. It just kind of seems out in the middle of nowhere over there, doesn't it? Okay, and those are the colors we used. So yeah, we are at 2 minutes to 2 hours, and I will admit my hand is definitely feeling it right now. Let me pull this out real quick. I just saw this and it's gonna drive me nuts if I don't fill it in. At this point, I feel like I've just been staring at it too much and I need to walk away. I mean, it's still a good size chunk of the page. We're slowly getting to the point where all that's going to be left is figuring out how to do that swirl. And I'm kind of dreading it, but we'll see. But I do want to thank all of you guys for coming in and hanging out with me as I colored the Christmas tree. I'm not sure where I'm going to go next with this one. Heck, I didn't even know I was going to do the tree today, and I just did the tree. I might color the grandmother, or at least start coloring her clothes. I don't know. But if you have any thoughts on where I should go next on this page, please just let me know. I will be back again next weekend at the same time, around 11 Central. I will put up a notification or a reminder of when that is going to happen. So if you're subscribed, you will get that in your subscription feed, and then you can click notify for when I go live. If you're not subscribed, I highly recommend that you subscribed, but I will, as always, post to all of my other socials that I'm going live, so you can see them over there as well. But my brain needs a break. I need more caffeine. My hand is starting to cramp. So thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I do hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I heart you beautiful faces.